One, two, three. All right. Alligator Boogaloo. So I got hip to this tune about a year ago. I was playing a gig at the Dresden with this great saxophone player named Bill Todd, a guy out of Buffalo. You know, we had a mutual friend, a guy I used to go to school with in Kentucky. I think they knew each other from New York or something like that. I don't know, maybe they toured. I can't really remember the story, but you know, it was a friend of a friend, a great player, and man, it was so much fun playing with that group. Eric England on bass, Mario Montez on drums, and it's just there's not a ton to this tune, but that doesn't mean it's not good music. It's sometimes when things are, let's say, simple, but can be a lot of fun, and it leaves a lot of room for things to do. So let's just talk about the chord voicings I'm doing and kind of the groove I'm going for, and then we'll talk about the melody, and then maybe we'll talk about some solo ideas. So all right, so let's get into this guy. Split screen, split view. You know, when I was checking out the recording for this, if you notice, like. By the way, this is going out to oh man, this lesson is for Christina and Ben. So hope you both enjoy this. So you can understand my chicken scratch here. So I put a C13 because when I was listening to the recording, I noticed the organ player put the A on top. It's a subtle thing, but that versus C9 sounds great too, but I don't know. Little things like this, I find, if I can grab little subtleties like that, people do notice that kind of stuff. So I'll just show you the 13 that I got here, the C13. So that's root, flat 7, third, and then the 13th, which is the 6th. But when we stack intervals like this, upper extensions, 9, sharp 11, usually it can be implied, but sometimes they avoid that. It'll skip the 9th to the 13th. So you can have a natural 4th and not a sharp. A sharp 11 is kind of a specific sound. went down here to F, and to be honest with you, that works. I did the same voicing down at F, but you know, I could have just as easily. My iPad's doing this weird thing where it zooms out. Could have just as easily did the James Brown F9. Hit me. I always associate that with James Brown. At any rate. And then G7, yeah, so I put F9 there. You can kind of see that. And then when I go here, solo, I was probably just making myself a note that on for the melody, that maybe I noticed on the recording that the whoever's playing keys was emphasizing beats too. So maybe the bass would go boom. Let's kind of talk about the rhythm that's going on there. So we got the voicing. I mean, G7 is pretty garden variety. Root, flat 7, 3rd, 5th. 5th! All right. All right. So a Boogaloo. It's kind of like not quite a backbeat thing, not quite a bossa. It's kind of like a groovy bossa. And I'm just kind of like lifting up my thumb to get, you don't really hear the note, but I kind of treat it like a drum set, right? It's like if a drummer's going boom, ka, boom, boom, ka, ka. Your thumb's kind of like the kick drum, and then your fingers are the snare. So that's what's going on with the accompaniment. Let's talk about, apologies for this chart. This is, I just grabbed a free chart online whenever I was trying to cram for this gig. I mean, a lot of times when you're prepping for a gig, in this case, who knows? I might have even gotten the call like a day or two before, and they're like, hey, here's like 20 songs we might call from. We're not going to play all of them, but these are the 20 songs we're probably going to pull from. And I saw this. I just needed some quick. I grabbed something online. So clearly, if you're a guitar player, you don't need this alto line. But it's kind of a riff head. And what I mean by a riff head, it's like the same idea, but they either play the exact same thing or they kind of sequence it over the changes. So what you got is, you got kind of a pivot note on the 5th, and then it walks up chromatically to the root. So, let's see here. Let me get get my visual aid here. Split view. Yeah. So let's say if I'm, say this is your chord, right, for C7. Your 5th is going to be here, and I just kind of walk this up. So it goes, I don't know if you can see my cursor, do-da, do-da, do-da. It's actually kind of a melody you could probably play on accompaniment. So I was playing it if the chord was down here, but if you wanted to play it in the C13, like here, I would go do-da, do-da, do-da. If you have another guitar player, you probably don't need to do that. The guitar player will take care of it. But let's say you're doing a trio with like bass, drums, and just solo, guitar. Then yeah, you might. And now this is where they break away from that theme. They go 5, 1, 5. You can slide into it. 3, 4, 5. That's just a minor pentatonic. So if I were to play it here, I'll show you. So this would be like 8th position, right? So the box of rock empires have been built on this scale shape, right? Boom, boom. So that's going to go 1, 5, 4, da, 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 da. I don't know if you can see that. I don't even know if that's helpful. Always trying out new things. Boom, boom. to throw the melody on top, you could use like a G7 shape like this. This might be more information than you need, but I just, take what you like and chuck the rest, You don't have to use all this stuff. I just like throwing out stuff there in case any of this resonates with you. So that note, you can go down. If you want to grab the F, you can just go down 2 frets, and there's the F right there. Now, if I wanted to play this melody up more like 3rd position, I'll show you what that looks like. And the reason I think, one, it's good to be able to play melodies in different spots, but I think also the melody gives us, as I always say, the melody gives you clues on how to solo. If you don't know where to solo and you don't know all this fancy theory talk, you can, the melody is always your guide. So you got boom ba 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 bum bum. I don't know if you can see that. So do da do da do dum. So that, it gets a little interesting to go to the F there. Ba 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 ba. Kind of just walks up chromatically, right? You can slide into it that way. Slide into the G. I kind of like how it sounds on the B string personally. Kind of a fuller sound. The E string's a little thin for my taste. Right. So there's the melody. And then for the case of Christina is a very talented classical guitarist, but oftentimes with classical people, it's a different headspace. I really look up to classical people for the discipline and just the sheer consistency. Like, you have to play it the same way every time and really hone in on that. Where like jazz is kind of like, I had a buddy in Texas that I always joke about, like, man, the thing about jazz players is that you guys never play the same thing once. It's like, we're lucky to play it correctly once. We might half kind of play it and then we're off to another idea. So, but the advantage we have is like we're typically more comfortable with improvising. So, jazzers can learn a lot from classical players, from like having discipline, being regimented, and focus, kind of like focus on like, no, play it this way, play it correctly. And then maybe classical players can learn from jazzers by, loosening up and getting comfortable with like, hey, it doesn't have to be the page. It could be something coming from you, and the two can reinforce each other. I think they're both kind of important to have. So let's talk about how to solo over this guy. I'm going to start off the first chorus. I'm just going to kind of build off the melody. And anytime I want to play outside of the melody, I have these 2 shapes. So I have, there's one C, and then, now there's 3 other parts of the neck that you can play pentatonic. If you want to find that, that's great, but that's more than enough, because we don't want to worry so much about the notes. There's so many other things, elements of music, than just pitch. There's rhythm, there's timbre, there's dynamics, there's all this stuff that comes into phrasing. So, don't get hung up on like trying to play a million notes. There's a lot of music to be made with other elements. So, let's see. Play with timbre. Play with rhythm. Right, timbre and rhythm. So right there, taking ideas from the melody and then like segmenting it. So segmenting it. So like say that idea, try to just take a two-note idea and make that interesting. Like how can you maybe you can repeat it, maybe you can mess with the rhythm, maybe you can kind of you know guitar is a pitched instrument. It's a percussion instrument. There's a lot of percussive elements, so you can treat it like boom, 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 boom. Like if you had two cowbells or two drums. Something like that. A thing I didn't mention here is there are a blue note. There's what we call blue notes. So that's the note in between the fourth and the fifth note of the scale. Now, I can probably make these blue since I didn't burn that. So, you can also like add these blue notes. So, you can grab it. You can grab the note there or there, wherever you want. There's a blue note there. If I were to go to the other position, it's always something, wants to zoom out on me. And we can add the blue note here. Blue note in green. So that's going to look like. Now we learn stuff of scales, but that doesn't mean you have to always play top to bottom. Pick a few notes and just go back and forth. Again, there's so much music to be made with just phrasing and messing with ideas. You can bend into stuff. You can play with rhythms. You can do so many other things than just. I need everybody in this audience to know that I know this scale, and I want my teacher to give me a good grade, so I better play all the notes of the scale. It's not really music. It's not how that works. So I encourage you. I mean, if you want to play, you can be impressive playing really fast scales. Don't get me wrong, but I think it almost makes it easier if you limit your options, especially if you're starting out. Just say like, man, I just want to solo with just like these three notes, or kind of stay at this spot. Do that. There's actually freedom in limitation. No, there's a bumper sticker for you. Freedom and limitation. Like you'd open up a fortune cookie or something like that. You will have freedom and limitation. All right, more playing. Space. Leave some space. Phrasing, right? Oops. Note got away. I know that's hard to do on nylon strings, but if you have a steel string guitar or an electric, you can mess around with bending stuff. At any rate, I don't want this lesson to get terribly long, but hopefully that gives you some ideas. I'd love to see you both solo over this. I think that would be great. Another idea I had, I'm just going to do a couple courses. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play a lick, and you try playing it back to me. Maybe it'll be fun, maybe it'll be lame. I don't know. Let's see how it goes. So I'm going to start. 1, 2, 3, 4. that's 20 minutes. Hopefully that gives you some ideas. Hope you have fun with this. It's a really fun tune, and that's the whole idea, right? Well, a good deal of time. Hopefully you enjoy it, and other people can enjoy it. All right, have a good one. See ya.